Welcome
to driving
to another episode of
Driving to the Res
with Larry and
me.
and Inelia. Yeah.
Should we do it again?
No, that was a good one.
You think?
Yeah, I like it. It's
Okay.
us.
Do you guys like it? I hope you do, because that's what you're keeping.
Anyway, we're listening to a Russian. I think she's Russian.
She sounds Russian.
Eastern
and she
European.
she talks about Russia a lot, and she does translate from that Russian, other Russian teachers and things.
Yeah, and
So
the
she
Russian
probably
language,
is, yeah.
Russian language prophecies,
Right.
and
right.
seers and prophesiers, and mystics and whatnot.
Mhm.
Yeah, she was talking about basically end times, basically Antichrist, and basically the second coming
Yes.
of Jesus Christ.
Of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And she said it's in the Quran too.
Yeah, they're very patiently waiting for
They're very
Christ to
patiently
come back. Because he's going to lead them.
Yeah, it was clearer in the Quran than it is in the Bible because the Bible got messed around with in the Middle Ages, I guess.
Yeah, that's what she said, yeah.
So anyway, second coming of Christ. I think there, if you add in the Quran people and the Bible people, what are we talking about? A few billion people are waiting for the second coming of Christ?
Yes, billions, man.
So what happens when
Billions.
billions of people are focused on the same thing
They're
on
waiting.
this planet?
They're waiting.
So they're focused on waiting.
Yes. And what happens when you're waiting?
You continue to wait.
Yeah.
You
and
create
you don't
more
do.
waiting.
And you don't do.
Well,
You just wait.
you create a whole long couple thousand years of waiting, I suppose, right?
Yeah, you do.
Plus, in the waiting, you're not doing anything.
Correct.
That's
Yes.
right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So when you're not doing anything but waiting, and the task at hand is something like creating the new paradigm,
Mhm.
instead of doing that, you're waiting for Jesus to come
And save you.
and save you,
Uh-huh. Or lead you out of
or
darkness.
lead you out of darkness, or I guess you're waiting for a savior.
Yes.
In the bottom line,
Uh-huh.
how are people so trained to do that anyway?
Well, there's a couple of things that I found to be interesting about the whole thing about the the return of Christ. Some people say the return of Jesus, right? When I think, is there a return of Jesus, I get a no. And when I think, is there a return of Christ, I get a yes. And
It's interesting.
yeah, so and if you're interested in how to find out or how I do it, get the class I released this month.
Good class.
It's a good class, telling truth from lies, and tells you all about it, how to do it. Trains you and gives you lots of exercises for you to get really good at it.
Right, because I mean, even that question, is Jesus coming? No. Is Christ coming? Yes.
I know, right?
What does that mean?
What is it?
even?
Yeah, exactly.
So you need training in how to
Figure it
utilize
out.
your skills.
Yeah, and one of those trainings and things that I go into great detail in that class is about changing your words, playing with your words until you get a proper 100% yes or no to a question.
Yeah.
And
So, can I ask a question?
sure,
Is Jesus Christ coming?
no, that's
But
a no.
Christ is, but Jesus isn't.
Correct.
Jesus Christ isn't. But
Correct.
Christ is.
Yes.
And Jesus isn't.
Correct. Yes.
That's pretty confusing.
It is confusing.
Could you unravel it, please?
So, oh yeah, and you can get the class at ineliabenz.com.
Yeah, I would get it.
I would get it. Yeah, it's very important these days for us all to be able to discern what's real and what isn't. So I was really fascinated about that. And another thing that she said, and she didn't quite make the connection all the way, but she was so close, man. She was so close. She said, and the Antichrist is also here, right?
Right.
And the guy asked her, well, do you think that it's Bill Gates?
Yep.
And she said, well, in part it is, and in part it isn't. Because she said the Antichrist came in many incarnations. He came in multiple people.
Right.
So yes, he is the Antichrist, but he's not the only one, because there's many of them. But she didn't quite make the jump.
To Christ.
Christ!
Yes.
She didn't make it, and I was so disappointed.
Well, you know,
Because that is true. I'm not saying that Bill Gates is the Antichrist. I don't know who it is.
Although she said
it.
One of them.
Right. But to tell you the truth, I'm not interested in finding out who all the Antichrists are. That's irrelevant. And I'll tell you why.
Can I interject for just a
Sure.
second? So if somebody gets that class, they could find out themselves anyway, right?
Oh, correct, yeah. You can test out that question yourself.
Okay.
If you're interested to know if Bill Gates is the Antichrist or it isn't, then use that skill that I teach in that class to figure it out. Anyways, the Christ part.
Right.
She didn't quite figure out that is also true for the Christ part. The Christ is an energy, it's a frequency, it's a spark of God. A more accurate description of what it means without any type of church hijacking what it means, because the return of one person called Jesus Christ coming back to save everybody is an interpretation of a religion who wants to disempower people, or two religions who want to disempower people, or many more religions who want to disempower people will teach this. It is not that. And if you take that little sentence, it's many, and you think, okay, so Christ, and it's an energy, and it's a spark of God, and like I said, it's better described. I was going to say a word that describes it better.
Yeah.
It's an avatar, like the Hindu avatars, right? God's incarnated to, and usually when humanity is going through a big change, and it's to point in the right direction, and all people have to do is follow that direction. Right?
To embody that frequency of Christ, which
is the spark of God, right? So it's like high frequency. What does that mean, spark of God? It means high frequency. It means source energy. Unpolluted.
Light source energy.
Yes. Unpolluted. But when you say light source energy, that's for the Christ
source
energy.
And the Antichrist would be dark source energy.
Exactly. So it's both, right?
Yeah. Both are here.
Both sources are here. Both are incarnating to
embody their frequency completely, and
so lead their people.
Lead their people
to their chosen realities.
Nice. So they're here to facilitate the split.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing about the Legion, right? We're Legion.
Yeah.
A lot of people are using that. Anonymous uses it. It's a Legion is a Roman group of troops. I don't remember if it's like 300, 3,000. I can't remember, but it's a lot of them, and horses and whatnots. And that's called a Legion. It's because it's many of them.
It's very nice to have many legions, I must say.
Yes, if you have a lot of legions, then you're
good. You're good to go.
You're good to go. But it's mostly made famous by a thingy in the Bible. I think it was Matthew. I can't remember what book. But anyways, apparently Jesus goes to speaks to a man who's possessed by a demon, and he says, "Tell me your name." And the guy says, call us Legion because we're many, or something like that, right?
Oh, sort of a multiple consciousness,
yes.
Or multiple conscious, or like a singular, a collective consciousness,
right?
Sort
a
of
collective
like
consciousness. And so that word has
we
been...
are Legion. That's it.
We're Legion. Yeah, for we are Legion. So that has been used in a lot of ways. And now I have to tell you that as a light worker, you are very likely the reincarnation of Christ, and you are Legion. Right?
Oh, no!
Yes. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today.
Christ is everywhere.
Everywhere, man.
Well, I think he'd be pleased. I guess it's
he or she.
He'd be pleased, and she'd be pleased, and they'll be pleased.
Yeah, and they.
And they will be pleased.
Let's be gender correct.
There's that gender thing we're supposed to do nowadays.
Yes.
Cameron taught me.
Mm-hmm. So.
Christ does have pronouns, and those pronouns are...
All of them.
All of them.
So test it out. Test out the whole Legion thing of light, like Legion of darkness, and why are they all incarnated or have incarnated here for your grown-ups now? why are they here, right? Why are you here on this planet right now? And when I looked at it, and you can test it yourself, what I saw and the viewpoint of that Christ consciousness that has incarnated in so many people around the world, including you listening to this, what I feel is that it's a great cleansing of the planet. I tapped into the human collective high frequency, human collective section of the planet, and I can tell you and report that it is locked in. Locked in on this planet. So this planet has been reclaimed by the high frequency human collective and is locked in, totally locked in. There's no budge, there's no going back, there's nothing. It's completely locked in. So yeah, I thought that you might want to hear that. It's kind of good news for if you're a light worker, not so good if you're a dark worker. Right. Oh, and another little
tidbit about that.
Clarification.
Yes.
Being a dark worker doesn't mean you're dark sourced. You could be a light being playing dark games and working for the dark. Okay? Yeah. So that's part of that thing. Yeah, you're not going to be pleased if you're working for the... What does it mean to work for the dark? You indulge in negative things,
low frequency,
war, fighing, envy, anger, fear, savior,
martyr,
victim, martyr, all of those means that you're working for the dark. If you're diligently making sure that you don't indulge in those things,
if you're embodying your Christ energy,
Christ consciousness,
right? I don't think you would be scared. I don't think you'd be, well, been hijacked for martyr, of course.
Right. You could be. That's a big danger, and that's another story that hijacks the Christ energy, is going to martyrdom. And it's not a good one. It does grab a lot of people by the short and curlies.
Oh my God.
Really badly.
That doesn't sound good.
It's an English saying.
Oh my God, the English.
Yeah. So be aware of this, right?
You don't want to be grabbed there.
No.
So martyrdom is out the window.
Do not go into martyrdom. Or savior.
Savior, right,
yeah.
Right.
But that's the thing. If people think it's an external thing and one bloke that comes in, being born as Jesus Christ, come back, and it's going to save everybody, then what do? They don't bother.
That's
to
probably what the
embody.
Antichrist will do, huh?
What?
Embody that savior martyr.
How can you explain?
Sure, if the Antichrist boy shows up, many of them, they will be savior martyr boys. Imposters.
They would pretend to be
Jesus Christ-ish by saving or martyring themselves.
Oh yeah, it could be. Yeah,
because people would fall for that.
Oh yeah, light workers would fall for that. Yeah, light workers fall for any type of saving.
Just like that.
Boom,
I got it.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a tough one though.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess people are probably going to need a little bit of educationing on what exactly Christed energy is, and not the one that they've been misled to believe it is, because it's a repulsion even to some, but it's an incredible attractant to others. So, I mean, can you go into it a little bit?
Well, what do you mean by repulsion or attractor?
Well, personally, I get repulsed by
Jesus Christ?
The Jesus Christ church stuff. It just pushes me so fast and far away.
I'm not surprised.
I'm shocked.
Shocking. It's shocking.
Almost as bad as masks were for a while, but...
It's shocking. I mean, I remember when I was little, I was about 4 years old, and my parents were Marxist-Leninists, and they believed very strongly that religion was the opium of the masses, which is something I agree with, okay? It's the opium of the masses, keep you drugged up and unable to become powerful.
Right, because you're waiting.
You're waiting, and many other things, right?
Yeah,
many usually fearful all the time. Anyways, and guilty, okay? You're guilty. really badly guilty.
And usually on a huge mission to get more
Right.
people
Yeah.
in the
So
fold.
one of the things that they taught me was, all that type of stuff. So I had never gone to a church. Never. Anyways, when that's not quite true, because my mom gave in to my grandma, my dad's mom, and they baptized me as a little baby against my dad's wishes and behind his back. But anyways, my grandma, I was staying with my grandma, I was about 4 years old, and she said to me, or 3, 4, I can't remember, she said to me, we're going to go to church. And I said, what is a church? And she said, that's where God lives. And I go, oh my gosh, really? We're going to go meet God? She said, yes, we are. Oh my gosh, I got so excited as a little girl. Can you imagine? And I understood what people meant by God was source. We were going to go meet Swordsman. I got so excited. We were going to go to his house.
This is awesome.
Oh my God. I couldn't,
Grandmas are the best.
Oh, Jesus, it was amazing. So, we got dressed because it was Sunday and we had to wear nice, beautiful clothes to go and meet God. Oh my gosh. And we went there and I was so excited and skipping all the way to the church. And it's a small little village in Chile called Codewa. Anyways, we got there, we walked in, and I looked around and I saw a crucifix in the front of the church with a big giant man covered in blood crying, and all the other statues and pictures of people crying and pain everywhere. And I turned around and I turned very loudly, looked at my grandma, and I said, God does not live here. This is a lie.
Yeah.
He's not here. He's not here. It's a lie. This is the opposite. This is horrible. And I'm leaving. And I said it really loud. And I walked out of there, marched out of that church. And my grandma was mortified, ran after me, apologizing to everyone because I shouted it out. Ran after me and caught me at the end of the park where the church was before I got to the road, because I had no road sense. And she said, turned me around and says, what has your father been telling you?
Oh no.
And then I looked at her and I thought, my father knows. And suddenly, for the first time in my life, my father became an interesting person. I figured it out at 4 years old. Okay?
Well, good job.
And it's obvious. If you look at it, it's obvious. I'm not surprised that when you walk into a church, it repulses you, because that's not the Christ consciousness. That's not Christ. Christ never martyred himself. That's a lie. That never happened. So all these people who say, I got in reincarnation and I was there when Christ was whatever's and killed and blah, 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 and all this type of stuff. No, that did not happen. I don't know what to tell you. What you're remembering is an infection, like an injected false memory for the human collective to sell them on martyrdom. The energy of martyrdom, I have to tell you, is the energy to kill. Because once a group of people have a martyr, they have no stops on violence. They have no stops. They will do anything and everything in their power to promote their ideology, religion, or whatever it is.
Because of the ultimate sacrifice.
Because there was an ultimate sacrifice. Yes. And in the name of that person who sacrificed themselves, they will do atrocities. So, that never happened. It was injected, put in there. I don't know who or what they killed that day, but it was not the avatar that was born to lead people through a shift.
Yeah, I mean, that's the opposite of what a Christ would do.
It is totally opposite, yeah.
Anyway. But, I mean, it's difficult to argue a religion with 3 billion followers,
What do you mean argue a religion with 3? Why is it difficult to do that?
Well, because they don't believe the thing by anything other than a faith borne out by, I guess, brain conditioning of some kind. I don't know what.
Okay, so here comes another little bit that we talked about earlier. When I said this is a time of a great cleansing, one of the things we have to remember is that they will cleanse themselves out of this planet by their own hand.
Right.
And all we have to do is stay out of their way. It's not about that we have to stop trying to save them. We have to stop trying to convince them or arguing with them.
Yeah,
so,
you don't have to argue them. Their
exactly.
religion.
So when you say it's going to be difficult to argue with that 3 billion people or 7 billion people or whatever, don't.
Good.
That's not going to be hard because you're not going to do it. You mustn't do it. They have to take themselves out of this planet.
Right.
Nobody else is going to do it for them. A light worker will never go out of their way to kill another person to get them out of the planet.
I suppose the easiest way to think of it is if you have to tell them, they're not going to listen to you anyway.
But you don't even have to.
You don't have to tell them, because if you did have to tell them, they wouldn't listen to you.
Or they would argue with you. Or
They'd definitely argue with you.
Or they'd stone your house or whatever.
Stone your house or whatever, and depending on the age. But basically, they're not going to accept your authority on
anything.
on their religion.
No.
Because, you're a non-believer and you're not a part of their cult.
Correct. So the argument with them is not even a part of the equation.
It's not even worth trying.
It's not part of the equation. It's not our job. It's nothing to do. It's not what we're here to do.
I gotcha. But it is interesting, they'll take themselves out.
Yeah. By their own hand they shall leave.
By their own hand they shall leave. Yeah, it was an interesting prophecy show.
And by their own hand they shall live did not come from that show.
No, it did not. So that's quite a lot of information. So basically, if we sit for a minute with what is the Christ energy, the Christ slivers of sentiency. I don't even know what words would be right to use, but Christ sentiency, love, I'm sure, and light and high frequency awareness.
Yeah.
That
no veil.
Those things are self-evident, and the things that are not that are also self-evident. If you have the slightest bit of Christ energy, you can't not see it.
Right. Yes.
I guess that's the easiest way to say it. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So I did want to clarify a little bit, because when I say I was repulsed, at first I was definitely attracted. The same as you said, it's like, I have to go there to see God's house, to see this beautiful building. I mean, the cathedrals, even all of the churches, they're like, they have a form and a design that just like attracts you, because it's I don't know, it's just like a magnet or something.
And it also sucks all of your woe energy, the larger than life, that energy of you
majesty,
being able to connect directly with your source. They put themselves in between and suck it up. They harvest that energy, the larger than life energy, the connecting with the baby. You burpy. You're a burpy girl.
Princess Burpee.
We got Princess Beauty here with us. She's called Princess Burp right now.
Yes.
So yeah, it is designed, those buildings, especially the large ones, are designed specifically, very cleverly, to absorb all that energy of you as you start connecting with your source.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
They get in between and suck it all up, man. They do.
Makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. Because you feel that awe and majesty and connection to your source, and it's
taken,
sucked up.
And it's not, churches are not the only ones. I went to Disney World in Florida, Orlando, Florida, and they do it with Cinderella's Palace in the middle of it. Every hour, I can't remember how often, but especially at night, they turn on the Tinkerbell goes flying and all the fireworks go and it lights up and everybody around you go, and they just stop and stare in wonderment because it's beautiful. I did too.
I want to go. I haven't seen it.
It's amazing. And you go, wow, and you can feel all the energy being pulled in. And it's amazing. We went to it and there was a door and it was open and I went towards it and there's a guard there. And he said, can I go and see inside? And he said, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. It's empty.
Oh.
Yeah. And when I felt into it, the building on the outside is definitely empty. It's like an antenna to pull in all that energy. And it feeds it to something underground. They have an underground area that they feed it all into. I don't know what they do with it afterwards, but it's very powerful for sure. So there's not, the churches are not the only technologies. The Christian churches are not the only ones using that technology.
So how come in this corona thing, here especially, I don't know about everywhere, but in the United States, well, I don't know if even the whole United States, but most definitely here, they don't let any of them go to church anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting little things.
They can go to Walmart. They can go to Walmart, but they can't go to church.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
I do not understand.
And there's no singing, right?
Well, I understand the no singing and joyousness, got to make life miserable. But I don't understand why they would discourage them from going to church, because I thought that was part of their control mechanism.
It is, and one of those very confusing, is it good or bad and what's going on type things. Right?
Maybe they're substituting one for another.
People are addicted to churches, they're addicted to going to school, all these type of things. Addicted or something else, they're completely dependent on these things, and then you take it away from them, and then you tell them, hey, in order to go back to it, you need to get vaccinated.
Oh, right? That's the take yourself out with your own hand stuff.
Yes.
I get it. Okay.
It has to be done by their own choice, their own hand.
I think it would have worked a lot.
Volunteer.
I think it would have worked a lot better if they said you couldn't go to Walmart and take your shot. We'll probably say that too later.
Maybe, yeah.
All right.
So, there may be, and there probably will be, areas on the planet, countries in the planet, that will force people to get vaccinated. They won't have a choice. And you think, before you go into the victim-aggressor cycle there, know that those divine eternal beings chose to be born there. And even though they may be anti-maskers and don't want vaccinations, they're still living there. And they know what their countries are like, and they know this is coming.
Yeah, I know.
So why stay there?
They definitely picked to get born there. It wasn't like it was an accident.
Yeah. Or they moved there at some point.
I guess, yeah, or they moved there.
Yeah.
I suppose at the ultimate end of things, there's always a choice. A choice point.
Yeah.
And that choice point might have been 2 years ago, decided I'm going to move there.
That's right, yeah.
So it's not an accident. I want to have that experience.
And it's not like it comes in overnight. People have been warned about this stuff for years. It's been talked about and warned for years and years and years. Okay, it's not like it's overnight, it happens suddenly.
Yeah, that's definitely, if you haven't, I don't even know how you could, I don't know how you can miss it, honestly.
I don't know how you can miss
trying
it.
my best to figure it out. I suppose, it takes a lot of effort, actually, to stay ignorant of it all.
A lot of effort, a lot of chemicals, a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, a lot of TV, a lot of
work, actually work. You have to really pay attention to the things leading you wrong. Mm-hmm. Well, I say wrong, but leading you that way.
Yeah, it's not wrong for them,
It's not
right?
wrong. It is. It's just wrong. Sorry.
Oopsie, have you fallen into righteousness?
I am.
Oh my gosh.
It happens.
It happens a lot.
If you're in the guild of Gaia, you have to really always watch that.
Yeah.
Because righteousness will slap you so fast.
Yes, it will.
Deep breath.
Deep breath.
There's more than one right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, that helps a little bit. But the inside says, not for me, there ain't.
I know.
That's okay.
Well, that was interesting. Was there anything else that you wanted to add about Christ consciousness?
Well, how about Antichrist consciousness? What do you know about that?
Like I said, I have zero interest in them. Zero. Quite honestly, there's no one bit of attention from me that goes towards them, like nothing.
So how about this bit, the bit with the prophecy show, where she said all the prophecies, well, the ones that she explored, detail the Antichrist dark side part of the paradigm, I guess, experience, because the light side had none. No, not so much no plan, but it was a secret, I guess. I don't know.
It's a secret and you can't see it.
You don't get to see it. Yeah.
Well, all I can tell you is
Have you hung out with a bunch of light beings before? There is no plan.
That is the plan. A bunch of fairies.
Yeah, there is no plan.
That is the plan.
That's the plan.
No plan. Let's just hang out, have fun, and see what happens.
Not do that, and not do that, and not do that. That's our plan.
And one of the things about Legion is that there is no leader, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's quite funny.
It is very funny. It is very funny.
I can't see the plan. It's a secret.
It's a secret. No, they just haven't
got
one.
It's a great plan.
Yeah.
I think it's going to work just fine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But on a more serious note, it could be information bias, because if your whole research is called the end of times, of course you're only going to find stuff that tells you how the world's going to end, right? I mean, you're going to find
How about the beginning of time?
Yeah, you're not going to find and we lived happily ever after, you know, and we hung out,
We had
cookies and
crackers, chocolate.
Yeah, you're not going to see that part.
A big bowl of popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the end of times is also the beginning of times, right? So if you spend some time looking at the beginning of times, what might you see?
Then I'm sure her research would change. She would see other things.
Like that there's more than one.
She would come across
Christ.
different information. She probably does come across lots of information, but she only sees the one that affirms her belief, which is we're going to be going into what's it called?
Tribulation.
Apocalypse.
Tribulation.
Okay.
The tribulation starts in a couple of years. It'll be over in maybe this decade.
Yeah.
It lasts for 7 to 9 years or something.
And even now, we talked about it before, for some people this period of time is like heaven, right? And for some people it's the worst nightmare they've ever lived. Same planet, same situation, completely different experiences, completely different. So
I gotta say, it does look a bit apocalyptical, honestly, you know.
With all the smoke.
Our 3 days of darkness has started.
with all the smoke in the sky.
I mean, I did put some pictures up, and they were far from apocalyptical. they were majestic. But
again, same skies,
same
different
sky,
viewpoints.
different point, yeah. Well, we got a front row seat.
We do. We know why we were born at this time, huh? For sure, it's not boring. That's for sure.
May you be born in interesting times.
Yes, may you be born. May you live in interesting times.
May you live in interesting times.
May the wind always blow on your back.
We did do that sailing. All fine and dandy till we had to turn around.
Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah, that's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day. Well, thank you everyone, guys and girls, for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, go to ineliabenz.com for that class that I just released a few days ago.
Yeah.
And lies and how to tell them apart. And go to Walk With Me Now if you want to hang out with your tribe, people who are awake and aware and able to understand everything that you understand. And yeah, that's from us today.
Yep.
See you next time.
Love you, honey.
I love you too, honey.